Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hi. So we're about to get into our distinguished keynote speaker, but first I have the privilege of introducing our amazing speaker, Rob Leach. He is someone that truly embodies what it means to lead with vision, collaboration, and impact. Rob is the global Microsoft executive at Avanade, which is a joint venture between Accenture and Microsoft. And he spent his career helping organizations turn emerging technology into real-world results. Rob is someone that consistently creates win-win solutions and outcomes for our clients, our partners, and our teams by focusing on clarity, transparency, and leveraging innovation to its fullest. Please join me in welcoming Rob Leach.
Let's see if I can, everybody hear me okay? Great, thank you. Thank you, Jackie, for the warm welcome. Just hearing all of those presentations from the hackathon were pretty inspiring. Truly a great team effort. I'm really excited to be here. You might have heard a little bit in that introduction. I've spent my 30-plus year career, yes, and you can probably do the math to figure out how old I am, deep in technology. And during that time, I've seen lots of changes with products and with technology, both come and go. But certainly, some of the cutting-edge advancements and the newest advancements in technology are being made with artificial intelligence. When I was back at Intel in the late 90s, I was responsible for what they had a code named Merced. And Merced, if anybody may have remembered back then, was Intel's first 64-bit processor. And this is when they were going from the 32-bit to the 64-bit technology. And literally, my job was to help figure out what to do with those extra 32 bits. So I've been down in the bits and bytes, literally and figuratively. The answer, by the way, is that it helps with large memory addressability, which then allows the continued advancements around data, speed, efficiency, devices that we now carry around. But it wasn't always the case, because I remember back when I had to actually get up to turn on the TV and to change channels. Probably not familiar for a lot of people here, because we can watch our TV right on our smartphone. We had to actually go to the bank to get cash. We couldn't Zelle or Venmo, folks. The reason we couldn't do that was because cell phones weren't in existence. So I've been, throughout my career, seeing these technologies both personally and professionally. And the focus that I've had is around how the technology combines with the business opportunities and the value that we as consumers and we as companies can realize from those technologies. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm going to start by taking a step back. So as the global lead for the Microsoft account, I get to work with some of the best and the brightest people that I've ever had the opportunity to work with. And again, seen a lot of these changes over time. But the advancements that we're seeing here are absolutely amazing. There's a lot of twists and turns that we're going to have to navigate. There's the pace by which we have to try to keep up. And you really have to have a sense for where we're going and where you want to go. And so I've thought about this and what, if I were in the audience, I'd want to hear, maybe 30-plus years ago, how to think about navigating this space in this place that's in front of us. So I am actually going to talk about this a bit from a personal perspective, and hopefully bring you on a journey with me and us together so that we can explore some of the things that I've experienced and hopefully you can find useful as we collectively all navigate this world of AI together. So let's begin the journey, shall we? Let's see if I can make this work. Here we go. The world is an absolutely amazing place. It's massive and it's complex. Yet our perspective of it is constantly evolving. I think it was just earlier this week or last week when Blue Origin sent the superstar C.A.R.E, Oprah's best friend Gayle King, and several others out into space, and more importantly, brought them back. That was quite an experience, I'm sure, changed their perspective. And we're continually improving our ability to gain that perspective, to navigate around the world. But let's start by simply focusing on something that we know a bit better, hopefully, right? Just here in the US. So we'll start with a map of the US. And one of the things that we can also do is get even more specific, because just like any journey that we go on, we have to have a starting point. So let's start right here, Cal Poly Pomona. The interesting thing is, when I started thinking about what I wanted to talk about, I actually came up with this idea of navigating and use of AI and being a bit more personal. I then did some research, like any good speaker should do, about their audience and what's happening. And interestingly enough, right off of your website, navigating the ins and outs of the college experience can feel overwhelming. But let's follow some familiar footsteps. And let's work as a community at each step along the way. And I thought, wow, this plays perfectly into how I wanted to approach my conversation here today. And then I thought, well, you know what? The same can be said about the AI journey, because we do want to follow in familiar footsteps. Maybe mine, maybe others, but we also know that we're all in this together. So what I wanted to really focus on was, first, here at Cal Poly, lots of students love that, love the energy, love the excitement, love the creativity. But I had mentioned that this is a bit of a personal experience and personal journey, so I'm gonna have to get a little bit personal. And we were just chatting 5 minutes ago about your upcoming child and baby names. And by the way, I didn't rehearse this, because we literally just did it 5 minutes ago. But the interesting fact is, I will give you some of my inputs, because I actually have 6 children. And they are all along the West Coast. The youngest is just south of here at University of San Diego. She's a sophomore studying, thankfully, data science and business. I have 2 boys, one that's about ready to graduate from Loyola Marymount. Loved the Stock Up hackathon subject, because he's studying finance. My other son, who's at home with us, is actually in the trades, does sheet metal. So the welding topic in the subject there about Wise Weld was so poignant and personal to me. And if we go up the coast a little bit more, my son's twin sister is graduating from Stanford. Not really sure what she wants to do, but knows that it's going to be around something in technology, probably in healthcare. Go a little bit further north, up into Portland. My daughter is just finishing her first year teaching 4th grade. So, again, the hackathon team that presented around education and teaching assistants and the time that's spent grading. All of these topics were not rehearsed, but they clearly impacted me because I can relate. And then my son, who is the oldest up in Seattle, is into robotics. He's a mechanical engineer. And many of the topics around that space and how AI is really improving and driving 3D printing and all these other things that he's personally involved with is really relevant. But I also asked all of them, so tell me about AI. Tell me what you think. And I got a whole variety of different answers. Hopefully some of them may be more relevant than others. But like, what do we all do when we really want to get a true answer? We ask ChatGPT. And so here it is. Artificial intelligence is not just a tool for the elite, it's a catalyst for all. It empowers the curious beginner, the seasoned expert, and the creative mind alike to solve problems, spark innovation, and uplift humanity at every level. I love some of the words in here. Catalyst, creative, uplifting humanity. But the one that really stood out to me, curious beginner. And that leads us to the next stop on the journey that I want to take you on. Curiosity. It is so critically important. I love the little girl looking and exploring. I also mentioned that I work with Microsoft. So we're up now in the Pacific Northwest in our journey. And it was just 2 weeks ago now that I had the privilege of attending Microsoft's 50th anniversary. And the topic was around these three gentlemen who have all been CEO at Microsoft, and Satya obviously still is. Brad Smith was on stage being interviewed, if you will, or kind of a panel discussion, and he said, Brad, you're the only person at Microsoft that has worked with all three of these individuals. What do you see as the common theme and thread across the three of them? His answer? Curiosity. They all have a deep, curious mind. And I thought, yep, that's right, because curiosity is so critically important to everything that we do. And I love, again, how the curious minds and the impacts that we just saw the last couple hours were absolutely just, again, personally impactful. I picked a few that I thought were just kind of fascinating as well as the many that we saw. Right? Just over in Pasadena, there was a high school student that found 1.5 million space objects. Like, who knew? Lots of other great examples, including the ones here. The floods, the environmental impacts, how do we improve those types of things? And of course, like the education. And I just, again, applaud Ruth Cal Poly Pomona for how you set up the categories around education, technology, and business. And again, that makes it personal for me, but it also allows us to get to our next piece or stop on the journey. Everyone, whether they're the small child, the high school student, or the CEO of a massive tech company, should be curious. Always be curious and stay curious. And coupled with that, be aware. There was a team that presented around whether the news feeds were more biased, truthful, fact-checking. You can't believe everything that you read and everything that you see, but you can be aware. And so I actually started my career background at the University of Michigan, where I studied electrical engineering and computer science. It gave me a great base from which to understand technology, literally get down into the bits and bytes. But I coupled that with my MBA from Kellogg because I could understand the business aspects. And I didn't realize this when I was coming up today, but there's also a connection to Kellogg here at Cal Poly Pomona. How appropriate. And that awareness allows me to look at things from multiple different perspectives. And I truly, truly loved how it came together for me personally again today with the education, my daughter being a teacher, the technology, the welding, the deep, business side of things. Just absolutely want to applaud everyone that presented and all the other teams that just got involved. And I'll come back to that in a little bit. So I think one of the things that we often worry about and have to navigate in this journey is what's going to happen in this future world. I particularly noted there were a few teams that said, this isn't going to replace teachers. This is going to improve the quality of the teaching. The awareness that we have to have of this massive toolbox that we've been given is just a great treasure that we need to apply, not just for technology's sake, but for personal and professional use. So the one thing that I hear all the time is, but it's going to take jobs away. Let me ask my curious self here, what is the job outlook related to AI as a result of AI over the next 10 years? How many people, just show of hands, think that there are going to be less jobs in 10 years as a result of AI? Nobody wants to admit it, or everybody's really, really smart. A few. Maybe stay the same. There are going to be a lot more jobs. How many more jobs? Any idea? Anybody want to shout out a number? 10 million? More? Yeah, a lot more. Approximately 170 million new jobs are anticipated globally this decade, over the next 10 years. And that is all driven by the technology advancements that are happening. I've seen it over the last 30 years, and I'm sure excited to see what's going to happen over the next 10 and 20. The jobs may change, but the jobs, hopefully, will allow us to do things more effectively, efficiently, to be able to improve the work that we do. And just to give a sense, this is something that I saw in working with Microsoft and Avanade and some of our clients on where AI is being applied in business functions to drive real impact now. So whether you're a student looking to get into sales or marketing or operations or go into the legal field or drive particular businesses around financial services, education, what have you, AI will be present in what you're involved with. And the beautiful thing is that you're all here trying to understand it, be aware of it, and hopefully stay curious with where the developments are happening. But let's continue on with our journey, because this is a key element of AI. Perhaps the most important element is that of responsible AI. I'm going to step back for 1 second, and you're going to say, huh? How did he get there from here? Anybody know what this logo is over there on the, I guess, your right side of the screen? That's the state symbol for the state of Rhode Island. It too begins with an R, but it's where I grew up, and it's where I learned my first lessons about responsibility, about hard work, about being truthful and honest. And I understand that Cal Poly Pomona is the #1 Polytechnic University for diversity and economic mobility. And that is awesome. How many people here, just by show of hands or nodding, were the first or are the first in your family to attend a college or university? Okay. Good for you, because I am as well. And it just gives me great pride to be able to share my story, my experiences, and my journey with all of you. Because it's through the learnings about being curious, maintaining your awareness, both from a technical and a business standpoint, but most importantly, thinking about and addressing the responsibility that we all have with this emerging AI technology. We've all seen and know about how deep fakes are easier than ever. Without giving away too much information, I was involved where a nation state was attacking the hiring process for companies using deepfakes to get into companies and start to steal not only trade secrets and IP, but to funnel money to very nefarious bad actors. This is real. This happens. But the nice part is we have the best technologies to combat and to address and continually stay in front of these emerging technologies, provided we use them in a responsible way, and that we address the responsibility and think about the responsibility. So that is critically important. The governance needs around AI. One of the things that my team did at Microsoft was to help Microsoft be able to test the AI agents around how they can be tuned and responsible in the results that they provide. And that work alone makes the systems and the solutions that Microsoft and Avanade together are providing out to clients much more impactful. But that was particularly important because we can't just throw this technology out there and say, kind of use it, right? We have to find ways to use it for good, to improve how we do work, the amount of time that it takes, and even sometimes the work that it does. Now, I'm going to share another example of how we're using technology for good. And it's perhaps one of the more proud things that my team has been able to do in working with Microsoft. But I don't want you to hear it from me. I want you to hear it straight from the team that is realizing the benefits. Is this audio coming through?
At Microsoft, we believe in leveraging technology for societal good. The DACA Copilot project is one of our proudest achievements, combining AI and human ingenuity to support dreamers in their pursuit of legal status. By combining Microsoft's technology with employee time and talent, the Microsoft Pro Bono program aims to deliver scalable solutions in response to the access to justice crisis, for which 5 billion people worldwide have unmet justice needs.
As a dreamer myself, I understand the challenges faced by DACA recipients. The DACA Copilot is more than just technology. It is a lifeline that empowers pro bono volunteers to amplify their work and ensure dreamers can renew their status swiftly and securely, safeguarding their dreams and futures. My lived experience inspired me to lead a diverse hackathon team to scale Microsoft's monthly DACA clinics with the Northwest Immigrant Rights Project, culminating in this development project. The DACA Copilot is an AI tool designed to enhance the impact of pro bono volunteers and streamline clinic operations, generating DACA renewal applications in just 30 seconds. By analyzing data from existing renewals and intake forms, it eliminates manual form filling and reduces data entry mistakes, cutting the volunteer workload by 90%, from 10 hours to just 1 to 2 hours per case. Let me share with you what we created. The DACA Copilot streamlines volunteer engagement by providing clinic information, trainings and resources, and signing up volunteers through a landing page. Volunteers use the DACA Copilot web application to manage casework, track time, chat with the legal team, create renewal forms and send them for attorney review, collect volunteer signature, and organize completed DACA renewal packet for client filing. The DACA Copilot also includes an AI copilot, Luz, that houses a generative AI prompt library to streamline volunteer workflows. We keep human oversight in the process, allowing expert attorney reviewers to validate and finalize renewals through the DACA Copilot web application. Administrators have a dashboard view of all cases, their status, and volunteer profiles, including pro bono hours. They can use Luz and generative AI to assign legal teams and review case status summaries. We innovated responsibly, harnessing AI to empower volunteers and amplify impact, all while safeguarding security and privacy to scale pro bono legal services for dreamers.
Our vision is to continue leveraging responsible AI to create inclusive and innovative solutions that serve our communities. The DACA Copilot is just the beginning. Together, we can multiply our impact and make a real difference.
Can't think of a more fitting example of how to use responsible AI. 90% improvement, more cases, faster. It is truly inspirational how we can take the technology and apply it for good. And did anybody catch the video that this came out of a hackathon? All right, last stop in the journey. Engagement. Engagement. So there are a lot of E words that I could have used here. Energy, excitement, enthusiasm. But engagement was really what stuck with me. And thankfully, many of you are already engaged because you didn't get up and leave, so thank you for that. But more importantly, engagement is how you need to think about navigating this AI future. I'm probably talking to the wrong audience because you're all engaged. You're rolling up the sleeves. You're here. You're curious. You're staying aware. Hopefully you're being responsible, but you're staying engaged. And since I want to just stay with the personal theme for just one more minute, you might say, well, Rob, how are you engaged? And when I go in, I go all in, because this is my license plate that I have in my car. right? AI Copilot. And some of my friends are like, "You're such a dork." I'm like, "Yeah, but you know what? I'm in. I'm all in. I'm engaged." And I just think that when you start to go all in, you can start to address any of the fears because you start to understand and learn and apply to chart your own course and your own path and to navigate the world or the campus. And by the way, the Wayfinder team, I was hoping that you were going to tell me how to get from the parking lot to the student center because I had to ask a couple times, but thankfully I found it. Just great, great examples I see all over the place. And I just want to say thank you personally for allowing me to be here to share with you. And as I said, I wanted to share both personally, a bit professionally. So the last thing that I'll say is learn as much as you can. Embrace. Don't be afraid. Those jobs that are getting created are going to go to the people that understand this technology and use it responsibly. So there's an absolutely great environment here at Cal Poly Pomona. I am so proud that Avanade is able to be a part of it. This has a long, rich history and tradition back to our founder of Avanade, Mitch Hill. And the culture of caring was right there on the website at Cal Poly. And it's just amazing that we can bring this full circle together to stay engaged and to continue to lean in to how we go chart the next 10 years. So, in closing, there is clearly a culture of care. And to care, you really need to be curious, be aware, be responsible, and be engaged. With that, I'd like to just say thank you so much for the time. I don't believe we have time for questions, but I think I came pretty close to hitting the time slot. I know we're going to have a panel, so I'm excited to hear that conversation. And just want to say, go make it happen. Thank you.